Welcome to another Blazing Ball video, the Tech Enthusiasts channel for investing. This video will be discussing why e-payments are so important right now and what stocks you need to own before they take off over the coming years as we move towards a cashless society. One quick thing before we get started, I feel that now I've got a few videos up, it's a good time to start setting goals for the channel. For my first goal, I would like to reach a modest 10 subscribers. There must be at least 10 people out there that like the content so far. So if you're one of those people, please subscribe and we can pump these numbers up like the big tech bubble. With that out of the way, let's kick things off. In an increasingly digital world, more and more people and businesses are carrying less cash and buying goods with cashless methods, such as contactless cards and mobile payment apps. Cash is a hassle to carry around, especially small change as it's dirty. You don't know where that banknote has been, most likely up someone's nostril. Not to mention the recent pandemic that I believe will act as a catalyst for the cultural shift towards a cashless future, as everyone is now a germaphobe. Currently, most digital transactions globally are in Eastern countries like China. Perhaps partially the reason for that is because the Chinese government can track its people's transactions far easier than if people use physical cash, but I digress. There is still that element of convenience for using digital methods to buy goods out in the world, as well as the added security benefit of not having a lot of cash on your person at any given time. The West still has a lot of cashing up to do over the next few years to get to the level of cashlessness that China has, meaning there is a great opportunity for growth in this area. Of course, there is a concern that, like China, Western governments could use the mass adoption of cashless payments to track their citizens and monitor their buying habits. However, I personally believe that the convergence of other technologies such as blockchain will mitigate the risk of that happening, as it would decentralize the transaction process, but that's a topic for another video, so do subscribe to know when that drops. To me, it is clear as day that the future is cashless. Statistics showing that as of the end of 2019, over 70% of Americans say that they found the possibility of making payments on the go using their smartphones appealing in a report by Statista, and that the number is bound to be higher now as a result of the pandemic. Fintech startups have been popping up left, right and centre to make features like e-payments more seamless in day-to-day life. But it's not just startups. Big tech firms like Apple and Google know it too, each investing heavily into their respective payment solutions, Apple Pay and Google Pay. But while these two giants have a large presence in the cashless space, and are both attractive investments in their own rights, for reasons I get into in a couple of other of my videos, do check them out, they are not the two big e-payment stocks I'm referring to in this video title. Those stocks would be Square and PayPal. Let's have a quick look at Square first, shall we? Square was co-founded by Jack Dorsey, the very same Jack Dorsey that is the co-founder and CEO of Twitter. So he's already ticking one good investment box for having a visionary leader. He came up with the idea for Square when he was unable to complete a $2,000 sale of his glass facets fittings because he could not accept credit cards and noticed that smartphones had more computing power than the tills and credit card machines. So he wondered why they couldn't just act as a means of making transactions and making them as smooth and simple as possible. So he and another co-founder, Jim McLevy, founded Square to solve precisely this problem. Square allows shops and other businesses to take card payments anywhere by setting up virtual terminals via a tablet or a desktop with your shop or business's goods and automatically measures analytics. In a nutshell, it brings the old school brick and mortar shops and businesses into the digital age by allowing them to operate payments as if they were online transactions. But this is not just for physical shops, as I used Square myself a few years back when I worked at a surfing festival at a stand-up gin and tonic bar. I had to use a Square stand, which is essentially just an iPad acting as a till, and from this personal experience, I can say that it was quite incredible that it allows customers to pay on card, even in remote locations, therefore eliminating the need for cash even at a remote festival. Square has gained a solid chunk of market share in the US, UK, Australia, Canada and Japan in the 11 years since it was founded, meaning that not only is it positioned to increase its operations as those countries move towards a cashless future, but still has room to grow into new territories such as into mainland Europe. I fully believe that the future is bright for Square. The second stock I think will benefit a huge amount from this cashless future is PayPal. PayPal has been on the web for quite some time now, and it is safe to say that it is a brand that most people are already familiar with. Users like PayPal for its security for online transactions, and they have built a solid amount of trust around its brand. Remember the statistic report I mentioned earlier? Well, it also says that the most secure as well as the most convenient money transfer for payment apps according to users in the US were PayPal, followed by Apple Pay and Google Wallet as of July 2017. PayPal is the preferred choice when it comes to online transactions. PayPal recently introduced a new feature that allows users to pay in person by scanning a QR code, very appropriate for a post-pandemic world if you ask me. On top of a similar feature it added called PayPal Here, which allows users to process contactless payments like the features in Apple Pay and Google Pay. I believe that PayPal is a nice stock to own alongside Square, as while they are both similar in terms of processing e-payments, I believe they complement each other in this vision for a cashless future in a symbiotic way. PayPal continues to handle the online side while using its trusted brand to innovate and allow users to make cashless payments in the physical world. PayPal is more the customer side of the transaction, while Square allows the physical shop or business to take cashless payments. So Square takes care of the business side of the transaction. Looking at the chart for Square, it dropped 50% from around $80 to $40 a share when we locked down in mid-March, just like everything else. But since the March lows, it has made a new high of $166 a share. That's more than 4 times growth over less than 6 months. Tech bubble aside, that rate of growth exceeds that of most of the other big tech firms like Apple and Microsoft, which both have had considerable bull runs over the same period. And looking at the Square chart over the past 5 years, it says it all. Since March, more people are using cashless payment solutions, and it shows how the pandemic has been a catalyst for this shift. Square is one of those stocks I see being at the forefront of a large disruption coming in the very near future, and is a stock I'm most definitely holding onto for a while. The PayPal chart over the past 5 years is similar to Square's in that, since March, it has experienced a rapid growth, jumping from around $86 to a high of $204 a share in the 6 months since, and outperformed the likes of Apple and Microsoft, the same as Square. I personally have a bit more exposure to Square than PayPal, as I think it has a lot more room to grow, especially in the post-pandemic environment where businesses are looking for cashless solutions in the physical world. While I believe PayPal will help shape this cashless future, I personally don't think its part is as big as Square's, as PayPal is already fairly well established on the online realm, but it's definitely still worth owning. The only real major concern with this cashless vision that I know some of you are probably watching this are thinking is the potential dystopian cost to our freedom due to cashless payments being processed centrally, and Big Brother knowing where you are and what you're buying at all times, like it is over in China. While I can empathise with this concern, I do believe the executives at companies like Square and PayPal also see this concern, and as I mentioned earlier, that there will be a convergence of other technologies to solve this problem. At the moment, that technology being blockchain, but I'll have to make another video dedicated to covering blockchain, as it's something I find very interesting. So again, definitely subscribe to know when that drops. But do let me know in the comments if there are any e-payment stocks that you are looking at, and if you believe that the future is contactless. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I am trying to reach a goal of a whopping 10 subscribers, so it would mean a lot if you subscribe. You can be an original member of this new community of tech enthusiast investors. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a good one.